But going down, different thing, and it is a bit of a pivot, but it's an important pivot. When you were saying you took a life over a sign, that will depend upon your stance in the abortion argument. Because many of the people who are pro choice do not acknowledge it's a life. They say it's a collection of cells.
Of self.
And so it's still a fetus. Is that I've always felt like that was the why the abortion argument is so muddled because we
The
argue on the wrong points.
Yeah.
Not you,
Are
Marlon,
they
but we
conscious
Oh no,
argue
yet?
on the
no,
Can
wrong
I
they,
know
points.
where you're going with this. Is it and the reason why I don't get the reason why my stance has always been stop deciding what other people can do with their damn body. That's always been my stance and everything.
Right.
Because I
The
can't
focus
get
needs to
into
be
an
on right.
argument of what your argument is because I know you're not coming from a clear stance. You move the goalpost so damn much. Why would I hold a conversation with you? Because even if I was science, you
No,
don't believe in science, so fuck that.
I'm just saying it's a
Religion, you don't
bad.
believe in certain religions, so fuck that. Beliefs, you
Yeah,
move the goalpost on beliefs, so fuck that. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you about it.
but that's why I think that the arguments are so messed up, and that's why we argue against each other, and we're able to like use these things as cudgels because we're fighting on the wrong ground. If we're going to focus on rights, then we just be able to debate rights.
Yes.
Once we start debating life,
Yeah.
you have now inserted science, religion. You've brought everybody to the table
Yep.
when you start debating life. Because who are we to define when life starts? Right? I don't think that we are in a position to argue when life starts. Because you tell me, well, it's just a collection of cells with electrical signals. Is that not life? It continues on and becomes a baby, right? So it's like,
Right.
right. So it's
So
like when people argue life, I get a little like concerned because what we really should be looking at is autonomy and rights. Autonomy for the woman, right? She should have full autonomy over her body.
Right.
yeah.
But then rights, I think the argument or discussion on rights needs to be expanded too. Because if you have impregnated a woman in a consensual relationship or situationship, well, so basically not rape,
Right.
and
But yeah.
right, she ain't got to be your girlfriend. It could be a one night stand.
Right.
But you are the type of man, like I am, that believes no matter what, I raise my child. I will do any and everything to raise my child. So, under the pure rights argument, I have no rights. Even though I would be there to raise my child, even though I'm not your man, I still have no rights. So, you can now murder the baby and I can't say anything about it. And yet I'm responsible for helping with your care while you're pregnant. So that's a messed up situation. How do you beat up on a man in that way and just completely disregard our feelings and our stance, right?
That is wrong.
But you you have to err on the side of caution and on the majority circumstances. And at the end of the day, the one whose physical health is in danger is her. Like the closest thing to death a woman comes to is childbirth. So
Yep.
you err on that side. So it's like it's a really muddled argument. But we got to stay off of the life part because it's like Jesus or God or Muhammad or whoever, everybody got a perspective. Even Dr. Joseph, who don't even believe in God, he got a perspective. So
It messes everything up. It messes everything up on the other end. And I tell you why I just can't hold an argument with you, especially when I keep saying that they moved the goalposts so damn much. Because I look at some of the shows where they so do you believe that you can abort up to 3 weeks before the due date and everything? When And
We're
there was a
talking
doctor who,
about a post-birth abortion.
yes, and the
Which is not
doctor
a thing.
said there has been
No.
no record of that ever happening. No, that's not what I asked.
No, no,
I
no, no,
asked, are
no.
you okay with
But
it?
that's
There
not
are
a
records.
thing.
That's not true. So that's the thing. Everybody's playing this game on semantics and not really going all the way
No, that
through
was
it.
it. He
Like
was
there is
saying
no
this
such
today.
thing as a post-birth abortion, right? That's the baby
It's
was
murder.
born and then you killed it. So that's infanticide, right?
Yes.
But if you could, and there have been abortions, technical term of abortions, right
Because
before the baby being born, because the baby might have died in the course of being delivered, right? The cord around their neck or something like that. The baby may have died from shock or, because their blood pressure rises, their heart rate rises. Everybody is in a really high state when the baby's being born, including the baby. So the baby died inside the woman, you got to get it out. That's technically an abortion. So it's like, yes, there are late term abortions, but in almost, at least as far as I know, every case, I'm not even gonna say almost every case, there are extenuating circumstances that made that 0.01% occurrence happen. Most abortions are in the first 4 months. That's when they happen.
but their argument has always been, and I'm not jumping on you, Theus. Absolutely correct on what you're saying. But their arguments have been, but do you think that it's right? They're not going to tell you unless. I mean, we still got people who says even in the fate of the R word that a woman should still give birth. So whatever. They don't care. They're not in good faith. They have an ending, and they're going to skew wherever they say all the way forward to get their ending. And you can come up with an argument all you want to about why you're out of your freaking mind. I'll just change the narrative. Laminated piece of paper. Go ahead, Anna.
Two things. As an activist who works with people who are seeking abortions, the number one story that is relayed to me is the mother's life is in danger. Second, and I have permission to tell this story. My mother, in between my brother being born in 76 and me in 80, was pregnant. 3 Mile Island went off and a lot of women miscarried. My mother and my aunt were actually two of them. She was told, my mother, to go home. Yes, your baby has died. Now go home because we need to be certain. She wanted a DNC to take now a dead collection of cells that were starting to rot in her body.
You have to be in sepsis now for them to do something. It's cruel.
It is fucking cruel. It's right. What Lorraine had to be put through, and so many other women who are now grieving a baby that they wanted, but now they need one of these procedures. By the time they finally hospitalized her and did the procedure a couple weeks later,
Weeks?
the doctor actually told her that it was a putrid mass, quote end quote, sitting in her belly. I could have not been born. That could have ended her life. It could have ended her ability to have children. If she had just been able to get that when they could confirm no heartbeat before it has a chance to, like I said, rot. This is more than an birth control. This is health. And like everybody says, as a kid, I once came to Lorraine and said that, what is it about the abortion debate that I'm not getting? I was a young girl, and she said one thing to me: abortions will still happen whether it's legal or illegal. Don't we want it to be in a legal fashion? And I went, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but I think it's important. We have to find a. Oh no, we don't have to do shit. But it's important if you want to, as with any topic, get through to your opposing party.
mm,
Find you have to define the landscape in which you're going to do battle, right?
right.
So
Hello, Mother Heart.
if they are coming purely from a religious standpoint, right? They're coming from a purely religious thing.
She was put
God
in a
created
religious
life.
hospital, and that's why it was delayed. Mm,
Well, I'm not even saying that part. I'm just saying like the people who
sorry.
oppose,
That's
abortions
that's
or
their
whatnot.
argument.
Mm,
But
mm,
if they are coming at it from that angle, then okay, we're gonna stay there, right? Because you're not gonna dance around. We're not gonna play rhetorical fetch because that's what people love to do. They love to start here and then shift over here, and
the
once that
what about?
argument's not working, we'll shift back over here. No, no, no.
Right.
So we're gonna do the religious argument. Then I'm gonna ask you, who is the author and finisher of life? And you're gonna tell me that it's God. And I'm gonna ask you who has ultimate authority and all power. You're gonna tell me that it's God. And you're gonna tell me who should I place my faith in? Who should I place my trust in? And you're gonna tell me that it's God. So then I'm going to ask you, if God is this powerful, why does he need you to force another person to obey his will? Where is that in his word for that to be the case? Like you got to that's where we
Wow.
go. I will make you look at yourself because the reality is
Wow.
you do not believe in your God the way that you say you do. And I can prove it through your own action. I can prove it through your own weak faith. Because if God is all things and has preordained your path, yes, you have free will. And I know that little weird cop out. But you say that God is the one who's controlling everything. So if you shift now to free will, then I'm going to ask you, how is it your free will to override their free will? And if we're all going to stand in the seat of judgment or stand before the seat of judgment for all of our wrongs, our sins, because we're all as dirty rags and all come short, right? So we're all going to stand in judgment, and he's not a respecter of persons, and he's in all sins are sins. Then this sin is no greater than the sin that you may have committed in your life. So let God be that judge. Right? But you don't want that, because at the end of the day, abortion opposition is because of power
And control.
and because of politics. Right? Power, because you want people to act like you, do what you do, and you will hide behind other things. Whatever that thing is, you'll hide behind it to push that. And then the politic of it, because you really are trying, like for the ones who are really more concerned about birth rates, that's what you, like for those, that group, that sliver is all about birth rates. We need more babies born. So you're against abortion for that reason. You'll say you're against it for this reason over here, but really it's about this one right here. Right? So make people stand on what it is that they actually are doing, and what you'll oftentimes find is they will back off of it, because unless they got their crew behind them, they weren't ready to look at it. Like we see these Trump things all the time where they talk to an individual, and what was the one, Anna? It was the one where they were like, well, I hadn't really thought about it. About your sexuality.
Asking when did you decide to be straight?
Right? And then when you're asked that,
when did you make your choice?
All your speaking points fall apart, because you're like,
I didn't make a choice.
A lot of people are like that.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this short because we're going kind of long, and the fact that we're already on a certain subject.
Yeah. Sorry. I know that went heavy for a Saturday.
No, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely not, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate Mama Hart coming on here.